Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. This call was kind of birthed out of Nat and I kind of talking about having some newer coaches on our teams, some coaches that have been with us for a little bit longer that are still hesitant or still curious, haven't really gotten started. And we felt like it would be good to just kind of review the basics of coaching and how earning is like the actual business that Beachbody and the opportunity that Beachbody has given us all goes down like to a few basics, and it's actually very simple. So that is the theme of the call, is just simplicity, what we do on a daily basis as a coach that leads to a successful business. So Nat, if you want to talk about the 4 vital behaviors, take it away.
All right, thanks, Michelle. So thanks to those who made the efforts to be on tonight. And if you're listening to the recording, also kudos to you for going back and listening to your coach in giving us we're always providing the advice. Just you first and foremost have to be motivated, self-motivated in some way with this business. The coaches and I, we always talk about that we are always here to mentor you guys through this and help you in any way we can, and never feel like you're bothering us. But you have to be self-motivated in order to be successful in this business. And it doesn't even mean you have to do anything like extravagant. You just have to know that you just got to get started and you got to stay consistent. And a lot of times we can make this business so complicated. It's easy to do just because there are so many resources out there, and it's easy for us. And there's a lot of coaches out there too. Let's be honest, right? How many of us are scrolling our social media and see all these amazing coaches and their posts or their resources, or you see they're coming up with their own websites? Just know that those coaches who are at that level where they're providing and coming up with new resources themselves, like a website or a training that they developed by themselves, that they are at a different stage. That will come later in the game. But the best thing you can do for yourself right now in order to get started is to focus on the vital behaviors. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Make it simple, guys. Okay, so for those who don't know our vital behaviors, that's one thing, that this is the most important thing. Okay, so get your pens out, and if you don't have to jot all of this down, but know that the vital behaviors, they're in our trainings, but I'm going to talk a little bit how you can go about sprinkling it within your day, because that's what you want, right? You want to make it easy so that the vital behaviors become your new normal, your new way of your new lifestyle. Okay, so we always say that being a coach is just a level above of being a fit community member. So for most of you, you transition from fit community member to a discount member / active coach because of the fact that you're excelling in some of those departments of the vital behaviors. You add on a few more, you're a coach. Okay, so here we go. The first one is be proof the product works. And this is one that most fit community members are already doing, right? Because you're presented the resources, and so you start to use them. And so now it's up to you to share your journey. Does that mean that you have to test out every single product, do every single program? No, but we encourage you, choose a program, do it from the start to the finish, and share your journey along the way. If you're just starting out and you're hesitant about sharing your personal journey on social media, maybe in the beginning, you know what I want you to do? Practice within your fit communities first. Like, even if it's just you posting or sharing a selfie and how you're feeling. You finished a workout, how do you feel? You cooked a healthy recipe, share that with your fit community. You had a good day for some reason. Maybe it was a relationship with somebody that you had at work or in your family, and you went through something and you want to share that. If you don't feel comfortable sharing that on your social media, share it in your fit community first, and you're going to see that the more you share, the easier it becomes. And then maybe you can start doing that a little bit on social media as well. In person, All right, this is a biggie. I know when I first started out, I was actually hesitant to share even like the fact I was drinking Shakeology. I would like hide my Shakeology like shaker cup because I was afraid people were going to judge me. No, share it, guys. Don't be ashamed. We have these products and we know that they work because we've invested in them and we have seen and felt success. So don't be afraid to talk about it. If somebody sees your Shakeology shaker cup, they might ask you questions. Don't be ashamed. Just share like why it works for you. Okay. And so that's what I'd like you to do more of. And that's what being proof the product works means. You have to utilize the products. Also, you have to share along the way. Okay. So if you're not doing that yet, I encourage you to start within your fit community and then start to expand more that way.
Yeah, and Nat, just to add, like, don't feel, because I've totally been there where like I feel awkward like presenting like Shakeology or like talking about Beachbody on Demand or even the coaching opportunity because I feel I don't want people to get uncomfortable like I'm trying to sell them. And I think like that mentality like is gets in the way of a lot of people because they don't want to feel salesy. I think that's a really good like feeling to have because it means like you literally want to be the opposite of it. And I think just like kind of like thinking of it in a new way instead of like you're literally just being honest with your experience with what it is. Like don't think of it like who cares if this person's going to actually buy it or not. It's like you're literally just sharing what it is with pretend like it's your best friend or like your mom or whatever. And that's it. Once I switched like my mentality there, I felt like it just flowed and became way more comfortable. And then from there I got like more success with.
Yeah, and we could talk to you guys too about there's ways to go about sharing. A lot of it is called curiosity marketing, and so you're not going to post anything that says Shakeology. You're not even, sometimes you don't even want to share with people what program you're doing. You're maybe sharing a move from the program, and then you know you're going to get people commenting, what program are you committing to, or what are you doing right now? Or if you share something about your health shake and what it's done for you, people are going to ask, what health shake is that? Does that make sense? So like never, you don't want to actually promote Beachbody. You want to promote you experiencing the products. So that's what you want to share more. So the picture might not be anything Beachbody, but it's just your experience using it. So I hope that makes more sense for you guys.
Now,
Trisha?
when you say share it with your fit community first before you put it, what exactly do you mean by that?
That just means that's something that sometimes I'll encourage someone, like, you know, let's say when you maybe joined Michelle's fit community for the first time, you might have been hesitant yourself just sharing that first sweaty selfie. So I encourage, and this is fit community members first, when you're a challenger, I just say, you know what I want you to start with? Just a saying like, got my workout in today, and you're not even sharing a picture yet. But you know what you're going to see down the road? They're going to start to share the picture. Then they're going to share the picture and the experience. Then they're going to become an experienced challenger. And I think when you're an experienced challenger, you become more confident and you want to share more. And so when you feel confident sharing within your fit community and you're a discount member / active coach now, you might feel more comfortable stepping into sharing on your own personal social media versus within the fit community. So I just encourage people who are really like struggling with that, start with really engaging and sharing in your fit community first, and then it might come a little bit more natural in your social media. Does that make sense?
Yep, like your Facebook page first, where all your other group is, your team, and then go outside of it. Okay.
Yeah, like Michelle, yours is it's happiness project, right? The
Healthy with Happiness project.
Healthy with Happiness project. That's like technically, Trisha, your fit community. So until you open up your own fit community someday, or even if you have your own like little thread going, you could even start there with your first coach that joins and it feels uncomfortable sharing on their social media. Just say, I want you to start sharing and being like a challenger at the next level. And a lot of times that's what you're going to see. Most of our discount members are transitioning into that coach stage because they've just excelled in being a really great community member. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have
Okay.
a couple of my teammates on tonight, and that's what I just wanted to make sure that they, knew exactly what that meant to do.
Yeah, exactly. There's absolutely no pressure, guys, to be sharing right away if you don't feel comfortable. That's okay. That's something that you have to practice, and it's going to take some time, but you can get really good at it. And you know what? You're going to fail a lot. Like if I look back at my posts from like the first 2 years, oh my God, it's so embarrassing, guys. Like I would literally have Beachbody scattered over like I like cringe. But look at me now. I'm like doing okay, right? So just know you're going to fail at some point with certain posts, and that's totally okay. It's normal. But as long as you're genuine, you're authentic, there's no wrong. Okay? All right, so let's move on. This is a big vital behavior, and it's the one that scares people the most. Invite, invite, invite. So that is one of our vital behaviors. And we like to say on our team that take away the inviting and just look at it as almost like networking or communicating with people more, but being a lot more focused about that. So that just means you're actually actively trying to reach out to people, start conversations. And at that point, when things get to a level where you feel like, you know what, I think this person might actually benefit from what we're doing, that's when you're going to invite them into your next free group, into your next, if you do have a Beachbody specific challenge group that you're running and you're ready to invite them. If it's inviting them into your fit community, like my rule for my fit community, all you need is a free account and you can join. You don't even have to buy anything. You have a free Team Beachbody account and you're registered under one of my coaches in my fit community, you're in. And so that's also something that you can share with them. So it's about inviting people to something because we have a solution, right? We have found a solution to help people live healthier lives, and it makes it simple. And what we're trying to share with them is the community aspect too. It's not just the resources, but it's the community at the same time. And I always look at it this way. I was on a one-on-one call with Sarah the other night, and we were talking about how, like, I was telling her, come up with a list of people to start to invite. And you might look at that and think, like, as a new coach, like that's shady. Writing down people's names and actually like connecting with them, like inviting, like that's where things get a little bit like you might be hesitant because you don't want to like sell, right? But this is what I told Sarah. I said, a lot of times it's just getting these conversations going. And even if the conversation never leads into Beachbody, or they say, no, not now, like, no, I'm not, but maybe another time, like a lot of times that's what you get, just not a right time now. No doesn't always mean no. And it can always lead somewhere down the road. But also, if it doesn't lead anywhere, most of the time, you probably had a really good conversation with them and you got to know them a little bit more. And also, if you never reached out to the ones that they actually had success, maybe 6 months down the road, they're messaging you and saying, you know what, thank you so much for reaching out to me, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't have lost 25 pounds, feel amazing, signed up as a discount member, and I want to now pass it forward to others. I don't know how many times I've had that happen to me where, thank you, Nat, for reaching out to me. If it wasn't for you. And if we just all sat here and just didn't invite, then you're not going to be able to make those connections. So try to look at it more as you are actively just trying to reach out to more people, start conversations, ask questions, engage more. And when the timing feels right for you, you reach out to them by inviting to a free group, your community, a Beachbody specific challenge, and then also the coaching opportunity eventually, which that's a whole other call, which we can talk about. But I'll open it up there with the second vital behavior. So go ahead, Michelle or Jackie, if you guys have any suggestions.
The only thing I was going to add is that sometimes I feel like for me personally, I get like when I'm excited to like start a conversation, it leads to more success. So what I mean by that is like once, and this is again a topic for another call, but trying to find your niche and your brand, that's important when you start as a coach. So literally just like, what are your interests? Like what is your niche? Who are the people that you want to be talking to or attracting to you? And you're going to start like just naturally, like maybe joining Facebook groups with those people, or locally, like don't be afraid to like connect locally, because that's something that I like personally love doing anyway. And if that kind of gives me like conversation connection starters, then that's like a bonus of like maybe introducing them to the business down the road. But just I guess finding people that you're excited to talk to and like could share tips with, even like Nat said, like Beachbody aside, who are the people that you want to be talking to?
All right, Jackie, do you have anything to say?
No, I was just going to add to that I mean, that's still one of my biggest challenges, is like kind of figuring out that who I am and like what my niche is and who my people are. And I was talking with Sarah couple earlier about that exact thing. So it does take some time, right? And it can be challenging to, first of all, you don't want to have too wide of a net because you want to niche down, but you get kind of afraid to cut anybody out, and you think, well, you know, it seems so scary to like only go to this type of person. If I look at all of these people, then I might have more. But once you really do start to figure out like who your people are, who you can relate to and who relates to you, and where you have that connection, you can see when people start to do that, that's when you really do see the magic happen. And it's, yeah, I'm still struggling with it. So it's a work in progress, right? But never get frustrated with it. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's so true, Jackie. That's something that we'll talk about too, when you're just getting started, just figuring out your brand too. So we can definitely have another call on that. Okay, so we got 2 more to go. So the third one is recognition, and this is a newer one that was added maybe like 3 years ago or something. And I think this was a great one that was added, because this is all about, you want to be able to recognize people for their successes. And I think a lot of times you think of, you know, you're recognizing the coaches that are advancing their business or hitting certain ranks. But I truly believe that the magic is when you're recognizing even the smallest things. It can be a new community member, a new challenger that joined, and she was really scared to be able to like share anything, and she shared her first sweaty selfie. It's recognizing that, you know, it's somebody who maybe has been wanting to lose 10 pounds and they lost the 10 pounds, and you're recognizing that. It's even in your coach community, it's somebody who maybe added their first person to the fit community. That stuff needs to be recognized, because that's what creates momentum, and that's what creates that community, right? The more that we can acknowledge each other's successes, the more that it also just creates that dynamic where we all want to do more, right? Like you're inspired when I see Sarah or Michelle doing well with their business and they're adding new coaches, or their fit community, I see they're thriving in their fit communities. Like that fires me up. I'm like, you know what? Like I need to be doing that too, you know? And so it's just about working with each other, but also recognizing every step along the way. So I really want you guys to pay attention to, even when you're adding your first coach or your first fit community member, I want you guys to be the ones to stay connected with them. So if you are new here and you haven't even added anyone to the fit community yet, or maybe you only added a couple and you don't even have like a discount member or coach yet, I want you to start, like, create a note section on your phone, use a piece of paper, you write down and keep a list of every fit community member that you start to add, every discount member, coach, and you keep them in a section where every time you do a specific post that you want to recognize people, you might choose people from there. And so it's a little bit more organized too. So eventually you're going to find like a system that works for you, and you can recognize your coaches and your fit community members in different ways as well. Some people will do like a post or a share on social media. Some of us will send small gifts in the mail. It might be like a gift card. It might be, you know, a fun competition that we might do, but that's all a part of recognition as well. So, Michelle and Jackie, if you guys have anything else to mention with that.
I would just say it really makes a big difference. Like, it's a small little thing that we can do like every week, but I've noticed, you know, there are people that are doing like a program, specifically, like now I'm thinking of muscle burn spat, and the 7 days a week is like really challenging, and like people are, you can tell, like kind of start to fizzle at a certain point. So just a simple recognition just like sparks a fire in like in your challengers. So I've definitely seen a difference.
And even guys, you know how, like Michelle said, when people start a program, they might be all on board for the first 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might start to see people fizzle off. Write down the names of the people that you haven't seen in a while and reach out to them personally. You don't have to call them out or anything, but a lot of times I'll reach out personally and just say like, hey, how are you doing? I haven't seen your face in a while in the fit community. I miss seeing your face, you know, and just let them respond with how they're feeling. And a lot of times it might be like, I've really been struggling, and they don't want to share that because all they see is people like posting that they're doing well, right? So it's okay for those people even to be a beginner, but they need you to be able to like help them through it, because consistency is everything. And if people can stay consistent with our programs or with our systems, that's going to be when they're going to start to see and feel that success. Jackie. Yeah, congrats, Stephanie. Okay, so the last one is personal development. And so this is one that I was super skeptical when I first became a coach. I'm like, well, that's one that I don't need to do, so I should be fine there, because I thought that I had everything together, until you realize what personal development really is. It's for when I in my mind, guys, I used to think personal development was for people who were like really struggling, like sad, or like going through like you know, like people maybe going through a divorce or something, because I saw my mom do a lot of it when she was going through a rough time when I was younger, and that's in my mind what I thought. But I didn't realize until I got older that it's really about you need to be the focus more than anybody else. You need to be mentally sound, and you need to be positive up here, because it all starts with you, right? So if we don't work on ourselves first and foremost, how are we going to be expected to help others? And what I mean by that is, usually if you're becoming a discount member or coach, you're in a much better place than maybe like other women who are just getting started, because you've gotten to a point where you feel more confident and you feel better about yourself. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to go through some struggles in your life, right? We've all have that. We have bad days. We might have bad weeks. We might have something that might happen. And you know what's going to help us get through that? It's personal development. So this is something that needs to be done on a daily basis. And I know you might think like, well, how would I do that on a daily basis? I don't have time already. And that's where you need to start looking into, how can I sprinkle that throughout my day? It doesn't have to be a book. If book and reading, you struggle, you fall asleep, there's audio, there's YouTube videos, there's always a moment where you can throw some, audio in your ear while I know Sarah Peppel, she always says that she's folding laundry, doing the dishes, listening to personal development. Okay, so that's something that you can do for yourself on a daily basis. So I highly encourage you to talk to your coach if you don't know like where to get started with that. But that's a big one. And for myself and my team, what has really helped us, I always say this, we listen to podcasts and stuff, but what has really helped us is we have a Voxer thread. So it's like our form of messaging and talking to each other. And you know what we do every single day when we all get in our cars or go to work or like come home, we check in with each other like literally on the daily. And we just say like, hey guys, how's it going? We tell a little bit about what's going on in our life. We might talk about like coaching, business related stuff, but we share everything. And I'm telling you guys, I share with my coaches and my fit fam. I share more with them sometimes than I do like my own family. And it has been the best type of therapy because I know that we don't judge, and it's just, it's a way to be able to help you up here more than anything. And that's why I think there's such a big thing when it comes to like community too within our team. But Jackie, Michelle, feel free to share what has worked for you, and if this is an area that you struggle in, or how you overcame it, and what personal development is for you.
You want me to go? No, it's the same. I didn't necessarily like believe in it, and it sometimes still takes a lot of effort for me to do it. But when I do it, it makes a huge difference. And just as an example, like when I first got started as a coach, literally first got like 3 years ago, Natalie sent me Morning Miracle, which if you haven't read, it's just a book. Like I was not a morning person, but I was like forced into being a morning person due to motherhood. And she sent me Morning Miracle to be like productive in the morning and like basically own my morning. And it did wonders. So it doesn't have to be like all about like, there's many different themes within personal development. So just think about some area you're struggling in, and I promise you there's something out there that can help you with it.
Yeah, I agree. I'll just add, like, I just did a post just to shout out teachers because I was so excited. Just our school year started well. But one thing I was blown away with, and I know this is built into the curriculum now, is that, hey, Christy, my kids, grade 3 and junior kindergarten, came home talking about a growth mindset this week and about like filling your bucket. And these are things that I didn't learn about as a kid. Like that wasn't something that was in our curriculum. And I feel like I just started learning about these things since I started doing personal development and being part of Beachbody over the last few years. And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, wow, you are already light years ahead of me in emotional intelligence, thanks to, you know, this new curriculum. And this is part of, you know, our world now, which I think is awesome. And I think for me, I was the same. Like, I didn't think I needed it. You know, you're like, oh, that's for losers, basically. Like, everyone's like, oh, I don't want to go in that section. Like, people are going to think I'm, yeah, really on the edge or something, which turns out maybe I was. But, but I think I wish it was almost called like even personal development, you know, still I think has this like weird thing, like it's better than self-help maybe than what it used to be called, but I wish it was just called like learning and evolution, you know, like the idea that your opinions can change over time as you learn more things, learn, you know better, do better, and that's really all it is. So it could be anything from business related stuff. There's a ton of books that you'll hear people recommend, you know, Go for No, and tons of more business ones, and then there's ones of course that are more focused on, you know, individual characteristics. I just finished one that was really good, the Atomic Habits book, talking about habit stacking and how creating like adding one habit that's connected to something you already do can help you stick to that habit. And so for me, I realized I already do that because I started reading my personal development while I was drinking my Energize in the morning. And so that's how I wait for it to kick in while I'm reading. And so anyways, point is there's a huge spectrum of what this personal development might be for you. And it can take a little bit of time just to figure out what might be helpful for you in any aspect of your life. But
Jackie, it could even be like it could even be like gratitude journal. Like
totally,
every
yeah.
morning you wake up. Like for example, Brittany, I'd love to, if you're okay, just talking a little bit about like something like writing down 3 things you're grateful for in the morning to get your day started, and it's like a mindset shift. And so I'd love just Brittany just to share a little bit more about just quick your journey, Britt, and why Brittany, it was all because of this more than anything that she's had success. So Britt, just go ahead and share that piece, since I do think that that's an important one.
What piece specifically? Not the
Just like your the mentality side of
Oh,
things.
yeah. Yeah, so my background, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a coach under Natalie. I was the normal kind of story you hear, the high school athlete lost their way after high school and college, blah, blah, blah. But my biggest struggle has been my mental health. I've always been fairly healthy. I did have some kind of yo-yo stuff that Beachbody helped, but the biggest thing that has really been my development has been my mental health. And a lot of that has been through the community and the commitment to all of these ladies. So when Nat talks about Voxer, and Jackie and Nat can tell you, especially the last few weeks, and if you see the messages, you may see my reference to a long few weeks to Michelle. I honestly could not. So I think we talk a lot about fitness and mental health and physical health when we talk to our challengers, but there's we don't talk about how much this helps us mentally. So being a part of a team, being part of a group, consistency, planning, all that is such a big mental help that even people that are already active and fit and healthy could benefit from our services, for lack of a better word, because of the mental health component. So I have a history of anxiety and depression, went through a postpartum depression and anxiety period as well. And it was literally because of Beachbody and because of people like Natalie and Jackie and Sarah and Lauren and Danielle that I talk to literally every day that have pulled me through and pulled me from like a really dark place. So I did actually start doing, and I should get back to it because I've seen she started doing it. Rachel Baldwin is an elite coach in Beachbody that Natalie actually told me to start following because our babies were born on the same day last August. And she every morning on her Instagram posts 3 things she's grateful for. And it's like my coffee maker, my pillow. Like it's not anything huge, but it's like that focus on the positivity that starts her day that I think really kind of changes things and turns things around. And I see that in a smaller perspective of the first thing I do when my alarm goes off is I check my Instagram stories and my Voxer to see which one of you guys are awake. And it's like that, like Jackie, you talked about kind of habits, spurring on habits. And it's like, I can't not get up in the morning to be consistent because I've equated that with checking in with my friends. So I think that's a whole nother perspective of reaching out to a group of people is not necessarily just like, do you need to lose weight? You need Beachbody. But do you need to find a community? Do you need to find a place? Do you need to find a purpose? And that's like a whole nother area that we can really help with, which I think was where I was too. So
that's awesome, Britt. That's an example, guys, where like we just wanted to share how you want to sprinkle the vital behaviors now into your daily routine. So start to see what's going to work for you and know that like you might experiment and be like, oh, that's not working. Okay, how can I tweak it to where what is my personal development going to be daily? Okay, what is my recognition going to be daily? And recognition, again, can literally just be checking in with a challenger. Doesn't have to be something fancy. What can my inviting be? And remember, that might just be connecting with somebody that you haven't connected with in a while and starting a conversation and eventually inviting them to something, okay? And then the last one is being, proof the product works. You got to be able to like commit to your programs, get your fitness, or use some sort of resource on a daily basis. And so the more you do all of these 4 things on a daily basis and it turns into weeks, months, years, I guarantee if you do these on a daily basis for a year or for 6 months, you are going to see success being a coach. There's no doubt. And even if, let's say, you reached Emerald in a year from now, and maybe you're like, you know what, I really was hoping for Diamond. You know what you're going to realize though? You are such a better person. You're a better version of yourself. Like I always say this all the time. If take out the finances that I was able to like gain through Beachbody, take out like the business side of things, I would have done it all over again, even if I didn't get paid, because I'm a better version of myself because I live by these 4 vital behaviors. So start to see it that way and know that it's consistency. Okay. So this business is, you have to at least give it a good 3 months before you even start seeing any success, like financially, or like even having a few first of your fit community members or maybe a coach. It takes 3 months of consistency. That's what they say, before you start to see that a little bit more. So think about it, that you can't just take a week or 2 off and then be like, I want to start again. It's consistency. So it's trying to find a way to fit these and sprinkle them into your life. And you're going to start to develop these pretty awesome habits, and hopefully it'll feel a little bit more natural for you too. Okay, so that was my part. Michelle was just going to talk a little bit more about achieving your first
Well,
business-wise.
do we have enough time? Because I don't want to go over 40 minutes.
I'm sorry, Michelle.
No, it's okay. I think it's a great place to leave it. And then what we can do next week is kind of do like the part 2, which is what your first business goal is, how to get there. But for now, does anyone have any questions or want to share like what they're struggling with when it comes to starting, or what their hesitation is? And feel free to be completely honest, because this is like a great team that understands every aspect of coaching. We've been there probably. So does anyone want to say anything?
I'll say something. So Nat and I had our like one-on-one meeting, and one of the goals she set for me was to find like 50 people who are following, like watching my stories that I post on like Facebook or Instagram, and like just seeing who likes my pictures and things like that, and keeping track of like 50 people. And right after we had our meeting, I was so excited. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go back and look and see how many people. And I looked on Facebook, and I had like maybe 20, 19 of them being like family members. So I was like, oh yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get to like 50. So luckily I did, like, I mean, on my Instagram, I guess, is the one that more people follow. And I went on there and found a few more different kinds of people than just like my huge family. So it was helpful for that, but it was a little discouraging to see that, you know, like certain platforms aren't getting as much traction. And I know that Instagram is like harder because you have to do more as far as like finding people and reaching out to them as opposed to Facebook. But so it was discouraging, but it is nice having like the group, the fit community, to be able to like see people post on, and like even the coach group where people are posting, and I'm following, like Jackie started following me on Instagram, so now I'm following Jackie, and I'm like, oh wow, like her stories are really good. So I'm getting inspiration, and I like where it's going. But I guess it's more just to say that like there are things that are going to be discouraging, like having only 20 viewers, but I'm optimistic that that'll build with time.
Yeah, I can say that's going to happen again, because it still happens in my business, like where I put up a poll and I'm like, oh, like who am I going to send invites to and emails to? And then it's like 2 people that accidentally clicked on my poll, and I'm like, oh shit, so like you're going to face those things a lot. But thanks for sharing, because I think it's something important to point out, as far as like this isn't a business that like you just like snap your fingers and it like appears. It's something you have to continue to make connections, like continue to bring people into your network. And the people, like, never forget that like with every post you put up, not everyone's gonna like, people will see it, not everyone's gonna like it, not everyone's gonna comment on it, and you're gonna reach that one person that like probably is has seen it, stalking you, following you, and then you'll receive a message like in a month from now being like, what was that thing you were talking about like a while ago? Like I saw you working out at home and it's COVID and like I want to do something at home. So that's happened many times. So never forget that too.
Yeah, and Sarah, remember too that even not everybody, like you have to actively even add to your social media network too. So, and also remember that memory jogger, like writing down people's names that way too. And then sometimes you might notice like, oh, that person's not on social media, I should see if they are. Like just different things. So it will be a work in progress in the beginning, but try to think of it like that's the thing, guys. I want you to think of it like long term. Don't think of this as like a short term thing. Don't think of it like, well, if I don't have success in 3 months, like it's just not for me. You have to like legitimately think of it long term. Like just how can these vital behaviors, just try to learn how to do them, knowing that you're going to become a better person, and then you're going to meet some pretty cool people along the way. Like try to take the pressure off the business side. But if you practice the vital behaviors, you're gonna do better and you will connect with people, I promise. But Sarah, thank you though for sharing that, because a lot of times people don't like share that they're feeling like that, and it's very normal, but it does not mean that you're not going to have success.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add to that like, yes, everybody starts at basically nobody, right? So even you'll hear, like, if you listen to National Wake Up Calls or any of the, trainings that kind of come out of corporate, you'll hear a lot of those like top coaches or whatever who literally have people coming to them, and you're like, oh, that's how it works. Like people just come to you, you put a post up and then they're flocking. And they'll be like, no, like I started at one, or I started at my family, and then had to expand from there. So there's lots of great trainings and ways to help you figure out kind of genuine ways to build that network. It does take work and a lot of time, but there are ways to do it so that it doesn't feel like icky and super salesy and like you're spamming people, but that can come later. And then I just also wanted to say that try, as you're starting to share a little bit more and to post, always be 100% you. Don't try and do what everybody else has done, because if that's not authentic to you, it's going to come across as that and people won't buy it and they won't be interested. And to be vulnerable when you have something that, like, maybe you aren't having a great week and you share about something related to, to your week. Maybe you were trying to do a workout and you quit because you, like last week I said to my group, I literally had a hissy fit in the middle of my workout and I was like stomping my feet and then I cried, and it was a whole thing. And the posts that you put out there that are really vulnerable, or like that you're kind of nervous to put out because it makes you not look so great, you don't look like flashy and like this is so easy and fun, those are the ones where you're going to get the response. The ones where you've crafted so carefully and you put all this time in and the right emojis and whatever, and you're like, this is the post, people are coming to this, nothing. You get crickets. You might get one or your teammates are going to like it and they're going to comment, but everyone else is like, what is this? It's the stuff where it's like the raw you that people are most attracted to. So it's scary to do that at first, but I promise you, even if you, and don't worry about like making a long post, like just throw it up there. Because this is my thing, I overthink everything. And so my biggest piece of advice is just throw it up, whatever you're feeling. Don't over edit. Don't worry about it looking, super perfect, like some professional thing. If it's you and it's authentic and it's got a message of some sort, then share it. And I promise you, those are the ones that people are gonna like flock to.
Thanks, Jackie. So feel free, guys, anybody can reach out to us if you have questions about how you can sprinkle these through your daily life. But I encourage you also, if like for most of us, this is just kind of like a habit now for us. So it is our new normal, but if it's not your new normal, I encourage you to come up with a checklist. And there is a lot of trackers out there that you can check each day, like when you get all your vital behaviors done, and you start there until it becomes habit, just like our workouts, right? So thanks everybody for being on. I just want to give a shout out to my new coaches, Sarah and Jen. Jen, thanks for making it on. And Christy, And Christy and Jen, I still want to set up our one-on-one calls. So thanks again. Michelle, do you want to say anything?
No, just thank you so much. Shout out to my coaches on the call as well, and Trisha's. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys tune in next week for part 2, which is a push to emerald type call. So we're excited to share.